Hey guys, today we're ditching the oven and we're cranking up the holiday spirit with some fun and festive desserts. I'm sharing 5 no-bake treats, so grab your apron, turn the Christmas music up, come and join our family, and let's get started. I'm kicking things off with a no-bake treat that is so simple yet so stinking cute. Into a microwave-safe bowl, I'm adding 1 pack of white melting wafers, or you could use vanilla almond bark. I'm heating this up in my microwave until nice and smooth and completely melted. And now it's time for the Oreos. I'm laying them out onto a parchment-lined cookie sheet. And my favorite flavor to use for this has to be the peanut butter pie, and you'll see why in just a second. Honestly, you could use other Oreo flavors if you'd like, but I really do recommend using a lighter colored Oreo like the vanilla or the peanut butter, and that's just to make sure you're not going to see the darker cookie through the thin coat of white chocolate. Before I place them onto my parchment paper, I'm just tapping each one gently on the rim of my bowl. That way, any excess chocolate can drip right off. Now at this point, I want to work quickly before the white chocolate hardens. First, I'm adding one of these super cute icing decorations onto each cookie. You can find these at Target or at Walmart, and I can usually find them near the gingerbread house decorations. They're basically like a big sprinkle, and those are going right in the center. Then quickly, I'm also adding some white sanding sugar onto each cookie, and that's to look like the snow inside of a snow globe. Now these are going in my fridge for at least 5 minutes to set up, and after that it's time for the finishing touch. And this is where more peanut butter comes in. I'm taking one of these mini unwrapped style Reese's cups, and I'm using some leftover white chocolate that I added to a Ziploc baggie, and I'm essentially gluing 1 peanut butter cup to the bottom of each little snow globe cookie. Once the white chocolate has hardened, you can go ahead and stand these up. These little cookies are so simple but fun to make, and I think they turned out adorable. These would be perfect to bring to any Christmas cookie exchange. Now, if you or your kiddos love decorating cookies or gingerbread houses, then you're going to love these. They are so much fun to decorate, but are completely stress-free because you're starting with some plain store-bought donuts. To make each donut wreath, you're going to need some green frosting. Now, the easiest thing you could do is use some like this that I found at Target. I love this one because it's already ready to go, and it even has a built-in star tip for decorating. But if you want to make a dozen of these or more like I'm doing, here's a really easy frosting recipe that is super tasty, and this frosting also works really well for cookies or cupcakes. Now, I'm using my mixer for this, but you don't have to. An electric hand mixer also would work really well. Now, I've already added 12 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter to my mixer, and I'm just mixing this up for about 3 to 4 minutes. That way it can get nice and creamy. At this point, I'm ready to add my powdered sugar, and I'm adding 5 cups of it, but I'm just adding a little bit at a time. Now, like I said, this makes a lot of frosting. Once all of the powdered sugar is in there, it's going to look clumpy, but don't worry, because next comes the heavy cream. I'm adding about 5 tablespoons of heavy cream, and I'm just adding them one at a time. Next, I'm adding 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you can add as much green food coloring as you want. I'm just measuring with my heart. Now, this next part is optional, but I really like to add a splash of almond extract in here too. That just gives the frosting more of a bakery type flavor, so I'm adding about 1 teaspoon. Now, you guys, I love playing around with piping bags. These ones from Walmart are awesome because they already have a star tip built in, but if you don't have any of these, you could also just use a Ziploc baggie and then cut off the tip. And friends, this is the fun part. You can get as creative as you want while getting the frosting onto the donut. And what I like about this frosting recipe is that it's going to really stick to the donut. It's going to harden a little bit on the outside, so it's not going to fall right off and get all messy.
We're ready for Christmas. Can't wait to head back home. When the sleigh blows cold, I hit the road. Baby, let it snow. We're ready for Christmas. Why you so far yet close? I think I
Then to decorate each wreath, you could add a bow. One way you could do this is to take a Twizzler pull apart. You just take one little strand and you can pretty much twist and squish this into a bow. Or you could also use a chocolate mold like this one. I got mine from Amazon, but you can also find similar ones at Michael's or at Hobby Lobby. And now to customize these donut wreaths, you could go ahead and add sprinkles or any type of candy you want. I'm just adding some sprinkles. And check it out, you guys. These turned out so cute. You could serve these just on a platter like this. Or if you're going to a party, these little donut stands are so fun. I got mine on Amazon. And I could totally see these being an easy project for a class party or as an activity for the kids to do at any family holiday gathering. Next up, if you are a fan of treats that are both salty and sweet, then you're going to love this crockpot Christmas candy. There are so many different ways you can make this, but with my recipe, they end up tasting like a Mr. Good bar mixed with a Crunch bar and a Reese's peanut butter cup. For this recipe, I'm using both white and chocolate almond bark. I'm adding in 1 pound of each that I've roughly chopped. Next, I'm adding 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, followed by 2 cups of salted peanuts, and you really do want the salted ones. Next, I'm adding 1 cup of Rice Krispie cereal and then 1 cup of smooth peanut butter. And you guys don't mix it at this point. And then this next part is optional. Just to make sure that no condensation from the lid gets into my chocolate, I like to take a clean kitchen towel and wrap it on the lid. Now, I wouldn't leave my house with it like this, but since I've got my eye on this and it only needs to heat up for about an hour, I'm not that worried about it. Now, this gets warmed up on low for only about 15 minutes, then I'll give it a stir and put the lid back on. And after only about 30 minutes more, the chocolate mixture is completely melted and smelling heavenly. My whole kitchen smells like melted chocolate. But you guys, at this point, you could also add in some crushed pretzels, crushed potato chips. You could add mini marshmallows, whatever you prefer. Using my cookie scoop, I'm going to scoop out the candy into little balls, and I'm adding those onto a parchment lined cookie sheet. And then right away, I'm adding plenty of Christmas sprinkles right on top of each one. I like to transfer these into a fridge for at least 30 minutes to set up, but then after that, they're ready to enjoy. Crockpot Christmas candy is awesome because you really can switch out so many of these ingredients to make it your own. Personally, I love that combination of salty and sweet, and as you can see, this recipe makes a lot. You could grab a nice container and wrap them up, and they really would make a great budget-friendly neighbor gift. This next no-bake dessert seriously tastes like the holidays to me, but it couldn't be easier to put together. In my mixing bowl, I'm combining eggnog with some instant vanilla pudding mix, and I'm just using my hand mixer to beat this up until it's nice and thick. To this mixture, I'm sprinkling on a bit of nutmeg. This is really gonna help bump up that eggnog flavor. After that, I'm going to add in 1 carton of Cool Whip, and I'm just going to fold this in until well combined. This is really gonna make our pie light and fluffy and super duper good. And then I'm going to take this filling and add it into a store-bought pie crust. You can use any kind of pie crust you would like, but my favorite has to be this shortbread version. I'm pouring this eggnog mixture directly into my pie crust, and as you can see, this makes a very full pie. Now I'm just gonna spread this out a little bit so it's nice and sort of smooth on the top, and then I'm going to pop this in my fridge for at least 4 hours. But honestly, I think this recipe is best if you can make it the day before and just let it hang out in the fridge overnight. Now, right before I serve this, I like to sprinkle a little bit more cinnamon directly on top. Then after I slice it up, I'll add a little bit of whipped cream to the top of each slice. Now, I really like this pie served chilled, and with that shortbread crust, it has such a creamy yet buttery flavor. If you are an eggnog lover, you have to try this recipe. It is so good and so easy, but be careful. You might end up wanting to make this recipe every year. These next no-bake treats take me back to my Girl Scout days because they taste very much like Thin Mint cookies, but you actually use a Ritz cracker to make these. These are seriously some of the easiest Christmas cookies you can make. These are very budget friendly and you can make a lot of them in a short amount of time. In a microwave safe bowl, I'm adding 1 pound of chocolate melting wafers. You can use milk chocolate or dark chocolate, whichever you prefer. And I'm just melting mine in my microwave for 30 seconds at a time until the chocolate is smooth and completely melted. Now to this melted chocolate, I'm adding 1/3 teaspoon of mint extract. Now you could add more, but when it comes to mint extract, I think a little bit goes a long way. Now once that's completely mixed in, it's time to start dipping the crackers. I'm just using a fork to flip the cracker over just to make sure it's completely coated. And then again, I'm tapping off the excess on the side of my bowl and then placing each one onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. Now before the chocolate has a chance to dry, you can go ahead and decorate the top however you like. I like to do a drizzle of chocolate. You could definitely add some Christmas sprinkles, but my favorite topping has to be these guys. This is like the traditional Andes peppermint candy, but it's actually a white chocolate version, and they have very strong peppermint flavor, but I really like them because they're soft to bite into, unlike a crushed up candy cane. Once I have all of my toppings on, I do like to set these in the fridge for just a few minutes to harden up, but after that, you can dig in. These thin minties are another super budget-friendly Christmas cookie that you can make. I love them because you only need 2 to 3 ingredients. And seriously, with that rich chocolate, the cool mint, and the crispy texture, these can become addicting. If you are a fan of Thin Mint cookies, you have to give this recipe a try. I share fun and easy recipes on this channel every single week, so make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in my next video.